Two more questions. One, I'm going to give you four potential post credits. You pick the most likely, and I've already mentioned one. But we'll start with this first. Peacemaker Season 2, James Gunn said there's a gigantic cameo, so who do you think are we going to see in Peacemaker Season 2?
That's a hard one. We had that fun like cameo at the end of season 1, didn't we, with Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller as Aquaman and Flash. So it makes it harder then to sort of, if he says it's going to be a huge one as well, it's and considering we've only had we'll only have the Superman film before that as well. So is it going to be someone like Superman that pops in for an unannounced reason, or do you go with a character that is yet to have their big film? So Batman seems like a big one for me in terms of
me too,
because
yeah.
that could be the way to announce who's casting him. There's no word on who's announced it, and then that post credit scene comes in, and boom, Batman's there.
Yeah,
that would be a real way to sort of like just drop the mic, end the season, and announce who Batman is, and then you've got all the hype from the season ending and all the conversations going on, plus the Batman casting on top of that. So that seems like the most logical thing to do. I can't really think who else that they would really throw in there. It depends what happens in the season as well, because you could throw in like a villain like Deathstroke, just pops up at the end, and he's just like, Peacemaker's being a pain in the arse. I've been contracted to take him out.
Yeah,
you could go down that route. It's kind of hard to tell, but probably I would put odds on Batman being the biggest cameo you could throw in there. But would they really do that for a TV series rather than a film as well?
Right.
That's my other way of thinking about it. It's someone like Batman. That's why maybe throwing in like a villain like Deathstroke would be just as cool, but you don't need to have such a big character saved for the TV screen rather than the film, rather than the big screen. So I would go Deathstroke or Batman.
Yeah, and I think it would be someone we don't know yet, because he wouldn't say, like, the way he spoke about it doesn't seem like it's someone like Superman shows up. Like, yeah, it's a big cameo, but we already kind of know him.
Unless you're someone that's in that film, like Mr. Terrific or something like that.
Or, a lot of JSA people are in the Peacemaker. What if you have like a Dr. Fate show up for... I kind of like the villain idea, too. You could do more of, what's her name? Waller? She could like recruit a Deathstroke or something. Add something like, God, with Waller hates superheroes. Lex Luthor's going to hate superheroes. Waller and Lex Luthor might be in bed together, so literally and figuratively.
That would be a big twist, to be fair.
All right, right on then. So let's go through these end credit scenes. So there's four. The one I mentioned before was... Maybe I didn't mention. Oh, yeah. Lex contacts Sinestro or any major Legion of Doom villain. That's one. This is end credit or last scene of Superman for the tease. And then the other one is Batman reveal. And like I picture, literally, I just can't get the image out of my head. I see Batman with his back face to us, looking at his monitors, studying Superman. Whether that's to destroy him or recruit him, I just see that as a perfect end credit scene. You got the cowl, the freaking ears, and it's Batman, and he's studying Superman. So Superman's on his radar, and there's going to be a meeting soon. I think that's money. Anyway. Another one, Superman is introduced to Hal and John Stewart. I think it's not as exciting, but you got a Green Lantern in there already. And then the creation of Bizarro. Maybe it's at the end credit where he pulls Superman's DNA and he starts creating something under file name Bizarro.
Interesting. Yeah, I love the Batman idea because it's so simple and it's perfect, really, for the end of a Superman film. I think the Bizarro one's probably less likely simply because they might take a little bit longer to set up Bizarro rather than having straight or being created straight at the end of the first film. Let that Lex hate for Superman really stew for a little while before he sort of gets to that point. The Legion of Doom thing, again, that kind of makes sense, to be fair, because you want to start building up the villains as well, and just contacting someone. Again, I kind of just think of the crowd as the average moviegoer. I mean, again, it's depending. Is this made for the average moviegoer? Is it made for the people that know Superman or the DC stuff really well? Because if you have Lex contacting various different villains or a couple of them, are the audience automatically going to know who they are, or is it just for the nerds? So that's why something like the Batman one makes perfect sense, because that's for everyone. You know who Batman is. You see him studying the monitors. It's great. I like the idea of him maybe meeting the Green Lanterns, because like you said, the first 4 or 5 projects are all sort of in linear and they're coming out, and you want to tease some of the next things coming a little bit. But so I'd put that maybe middle of the pack, but I like the idea of the Batman one being the number one to go for in terms of that being the most likely scenario, because it's just setting up things straight away. Sorry, I think you muted again.
Yeah, so basically, we need our Batman like in the next two projects coming out, Peacemaker or Superman.
Just let us know who the hell's playing it. Who's your number one casting, by the way, for Batman?
Jensen Ackles.
Spot on. Thank you.
Yeah.
Straight away. Didn't even need to discuss it. Yeah, fair. Yeah, absolutely.
I think he would absolutely nail it, especially after the Soldier Boy performance in The Boys. That's why.
Literally what I was going to say. I was like, his performance in The Boys just throws straight on there that he could play Batman easily.
And like the supernatural side of things, his show, The Supernatural, like for his acting, no. But the vibes and what he's doing, like this detective stuff for like demons, kind of Constantine-ish, that feels very Batman too. He was young and not as polished as an actor. Now he's kind of old and got some muscles on him. He's pretty polished. He nailed the Soldier Boy character.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else on the DCU before we wrap it up?
I don't think so, to be fair. I just really want it to be so good. Like the lull that Marvel has been going in and out of since post Endgame. Like everyone keeps talking, they've just got to get out of it eventually. And it's just like maybe the DCU is what picks everything up for everyone in terms of superheroes.
I think so.
Because if it's not, otherwise you end up with even more superhero fatigue, and everyone's not going to be excited for everything coming up after that. And they've got a long term plan for the DCU, and you want them to be able to fulfill it down to how they see it. Like it does feel a little bit like Marvel has stumbled because they've changed so much, and they've had to change some things, as we already know, like Doomsday and things like that from Kang Dynasty. And so it just feels like there's a little stumble that's happened, and a really good start to the DCU will lift the genre of superheroes back up again, and people won't be going, there's fatigue. They'll just be like, cool, superheroes are great again.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's superhero fatigue. I think it's just mediocre movie fatigue. That's all. Do you think if Superman is very well received critically, makes $1 billion at the box office, do you think Avengers Doomsday has a bigger box office, a bigger turnout? Like that's a year later. Maybe I should say Fantastic Four.
I think Fantastic Four is going to beat it at the box office regardless.
No way. No chance.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Do you fancy a little wager? No?
I will. $5.
I genuinely think that regardless of how well Superman is received, whether it's good or badly received, Fantastic Four is going to outdo it.
But they have a bad history at the box office because they all sucked. So you got it. What if that movie sucks? This is the first
time that everyone's talking about the fact that it's Marvel themselves that have got to deal with this. This isn't Sony or Fox or whatever doing it anymore. Sorry, Fox before, wasn't it? This is Marvel getting their hands on it to do it themselves, which is different. And second of all, we've had a lot of Superman fairly recently. Like we can say, obviously, we've had 3 Fantastic Four films in the last 20 odd years, or 25 years, and that's still close enough, but the fact that we've had Superman films sooner than that, really, or plenty more Superman, I should say, in general. And so therefore, I think the general hype, it feels to me, from what I've seen, the hype for Fantastic Four is a little bit more. And it was going to do better at the box office, I think, regardless. But if Superman is well received, then that's just going to kick off the DCU for them. And I think that's the most important thing. Because it really does need it. It really needs that good, solid start. Like, it's a bit weird because we've had Creature Commandos already, which is kind of the unofficial start to the DCU. Yeah. And even James Gunn said with like Peacemaker Season 1, parts of it are canon and parts of it aren't. And that's going to become a bit more apparent in Season 2 as well. And so it's weird we've had like an unofficial start, and this is the first proper big start for the DCU. And so, yeah, I still think Fantastic Four will outperform it regardless, and Doomsday will outperform either of those films, either way. Doomsday is going to be like a $1.5 to $2 billion film in terms of how much it's going to take. So, and then Secret Wars will outplay. Secret Wars will be pushing Endgame level, I think. Yeah. If Doomsday is good, then Secret Wars will be pushing to the top ends of where Endgame was in terms of money it takes, I think. Right. So, but I think the DCU, if it gets a good solid start with Batman and it's well received, Superman, then it will just get better over time for them, and they'll start doing bigger numbers, especially when you start bringing them all together. Yeah. And that cohesive network of films allows them to do that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I see it. I don't even think they need a giant box office with the Superman. I think 700 mil is fine for them. They just need it desperately to be well received critically.
I think that's more important than the amount of money they take, is that it has to be a good
film.
Just
for this one. Yeah. Just for this one, even though it is Superman. But yeah, I still think it has a chance to crack $1 billion if it's an amazing movie. And yeah, man, I still think it'll take Fantastic Four. Just the IP is more popular, and Marvel doesn't have trust right now. Whereas James Gunn does, but that's more meta. So the regular people that you're talking about actually don't realize that good creators, Superman's in the hands of good creators, so they don't know that. But the Superman IP, man, will carry it a long way. Whereas Fantastic Four has had a bad box office, and people don't trust Marvel. On the other hand, you're right. People know that this one's probably going to be the best. I will just easily put $20 on that. This will be the best Fantastic Four movie ever. You got Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby.
You got Daddy Pedro's there. That's going to draw in a crowd as it is.
There's a lot working for it.
I mean, in terms of, I think it's one of those things for Superman that if it's a good film, I think opening weekend's going to be quite busy anyway in terms of the numbers they're going to do, because they're projected to be, 180, 200 million first weekend or something?
It's big.
And then I think it might have a week's lull straight after opening, sort of the first 3 or 4 days. And then if the film's well received, that'll pick back up again over the next few weeks for them. I think that's the way. If it's a good film and it's well received, that's how it'll go. So it'll be manic opening start. And then, because the bulk of people have been to see it straight away, it kind of just drops a little bit for a week, and then it will pick up again if it's well received. Because people that weren't sure or weren't caring that much will then start to go and see it if it's been well received, I think. So, and that's where it will pick up. Definitely could hit $1 billion. But yeah, I to me, 700-800 million was where I was thinking it would probably land.
Yeah. Well, all right. That wraps it up. Andy, thank you so much for joining us, dude. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Go follow the Galactic Core podcast. He's on Spotify and all the socials, so check it out. And check out our episodes. We've been covering nerd news and or Last of Us and all kinds of stuff like that. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.